Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are recording on a Monday night. You know, we're stockpiling some episodes. I had some time away from the No Name Music Cast, so we're building back up our stocks just in case we want to take a week off here and there.
And my schedule has been very full, so that might come up in the near future. All right. Well, I think Tim has a little bit of music news he'd like to kick it off with, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, a couple of things. So first things first, this came out today that Bad Bunny is going to be the Super Bowl halftime show for 2026. Now, the interesting thing from my perspective, I have no idea who that is.
You and a lot of people. He does have 3 Grammys. He is nationally known. He's originally from Puerto Rico. I'm not a huge, I won't say I'm a huge fan of his music, but I do know who he is and know that he is relatively famous in his sphere. I think what's more concerning to me is that there's a subset of people who live in our country who don't know that Puerto Rico is part of America. That was more concerning about the headlines to me.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read any of those headlines whatsoever, other than that this gentleman, I now know is a man because I have no idea.
Somebody else said that too. They thought it was a woman rapper when they heard Bad Bunny.
I mean, I didn't even know Bad Bunny was a rapper until I read this article, to be perfectly honest with you. It's maybe a name I've heard of, but I didn't know what this form this Bad Bunny took.
Fair enough. I mean, he's a bunny. It's obvious he has ears and stuff, obviously.
And you say this person's won Grammys? 3.
What is what I read today?
As I said, Mr. Bunny, that's not for you. That's for Aretha Franklin.
But to be fair, Tim would say that to pretty much anyone who's not Aretha Franklin. So
yeah, anyone who got a Grammy after about 1995 who's not Aretha Franklin, it's not for you.
So don't take it personal, Bad Bunny. No, I mean, I don't have any cares. Not to be completely honest, it's not like Tim was going to watch regardless.
No, the last Super Bowl I watched was the Katy Perry one. And I think I saw the Black Eyed Peas one because it had Slash on it. But I watched it on YouTube and it was awful. But I don't think I've watched any since. I watched the Who one, but I think that actually came before the Katy Perry one. But, you know, I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to appeal to a different generation of people who are going to be into this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Taylor Swift has not done it.
There's a rumor going around that she was offered it and she asked too many demands.
Well,
so, I don't know if that's accurate. But...
Yeah, like we said before, it's a year commitment. And her schedule might not allow that.
Yes.
Maybe that's what her demands were.
That could have been part of the demands. I don't know. I'm not saying she was asking for only purple M&Ms. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it was anything ridiculous. They're just saying they couldn't meet her needs.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just purely production and scheduling. That could be the problem.
Yeah. Also that she makes so much money doing other things. She's probably like, why bother?
Well, I mean, it's a prestige thing more than a monetary thing, I'm sure. Because, you will always be that person who was played at the Super Bowl halftime show.
And those are only rumors. It's not like I have an in on Taylor Swift's inside management knowledge. But that was something somebody was saying. It seems like it was almost the year of the NFL-related Taylor Swift stuff with her getting engaged to Travis Kelce. Why is she not doing the Super Bowl? I saw that too. And so then other people were saying, well, she was offered it. And then da-da-da-da-da. Who knows? We probably will never know that answer. And maybe it's just, like Tim said, she's already touring 24/7. When's she going to fit in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, like I said, it's a whole year of production that you have to do ahead of that. So maybe it's said, I'd like to put it down to scheduling.
There we go. Don't come for us, Taylor Swift fans. We're not insulting her. I didn't mean it like she was only asking for insert some ridiculous command in her writers. So I was just saying I heard that her demands were too high. And I mean, you know what? Live your best life, Taylor. Ask for what you want. You at this point, who's gonna either gonna say yes or no, Tim? What does she lose?
Exactly.
Is that bad? Like I feel like that's part of the thing. Anyway, all right. Did you have a little bit of other news?
Yeah, I have one other music news
Okay.
item. So this is something that I brought to Joy's attention yesterday, and this is the most concerning music news that has
It
ever hit
is.
this episode.
I just
Or
left it because I
episode, the
figured
most
Tim was going to take it up.
yeah,
Yeah.
most concerning music news ever to hit this podcast, should I say, not just this single episode. So, Dolly Parton that should be protected at all costs. Now, she had on the books a residency in Vegas. I think it's 5 or 6 gigs, something like that. And it was supposed to be, I think, later on this year or something like that. She has postponed them. And Dolly put this message on her social media channels, and I'm going to read it out. It says, I want the fans and public to hear directly from me that unfortunately I will need to postpone my upcoming Las Vegas concerts. As many of you know, I've been dealing with some health challenges, and my doctors tell me that I must have a few procedures. As I joke with him, it must be in time for my 100,000-mile checkup, though it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon. Haha. In all seriousness, given this, I'm not going to be able to rehearse and put together the show that I want you to see and the show that you deserve to see. You pay good money to see me perform, and I want it to be at my best for you. While I'm still able to work on all my projects from here in Nashville, I just need a little time to get show ready, as they say. And don't worry about me quitting the business, because God hasn't said anything about stopping yet. But I believe He's telling me to slow down right now so I can be ready for you for more big adventures for you all. I love you and thank you for all of your understanding. And then together with that, she posted up the dates have been pushed to September of next year.
Well, all I can hope is that they're minor surgeries and she's getting the best care that she can. And honestly, good on her to take the time she needs to get better.
Oh, absolutely 100%. And I mean, Dolly is getting older. And, as people get older, they tend to slow down. But, a lot of the your rock stars and music stars, they just don't want to slow down because it ceases to be a job. It's fun. It's fun to perform, especially at that level.
Well, and there's something to be said about when you reach a certain age, keeping a career or keeping something that keeps you independent is very important for your overall mental health too. And you see that just with everyday people too. It's not yet obviously their career is extra fun, and anybody who puts themselves in the limelight, whether it's a politician, whether it's a musician, an actor, whatever, there is some level of ego to it, right, Tim? There always will be. That's just the truth.
Sure. I mean, even at the level I do it, I mean, you have to have some kind of ego to stand on a stage and show off effectively.
I mean, you have to have some type of ego to do this podcast, obviously.
Well, of course.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But there is. The people who don't have that, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, that drive, those aren't the ones doing it. You know what I mean, Tim? I don't want to say that's an insult or it's a compliment, but you have to be you have to have something there that motivates you. And a lot of times, that's ego. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Because you are putting yourself out to be taken down by the public 24/7, so you have to have some type of backbone, I guess. But Dolly is one of the few universally liked, so I mean it's even bigger for her.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we all know that Dolly will live forever. So we are hoping that everything is okay in the Dollyverse and that she will make a full recovery. And she will be out there playing. Now, she hasn't actually played any gigs since 2016. And I watched a video of hers, I think it was on Peacock, for maybe some time before that. And I love Dolly, but she was lip syncing.
I've seen or heard that about her recently. But maybe it could be that her vocal cords just weren't up to par that day or something. The last major concert I saw her do was Glastonbury. Yeah. And so Glastonbury, what is the proper
Glastonbury.
word? Yeah, there's a T in there. I don't know where the T went when I said it the first time. I just said Glassberry. But with that being said,
It's an ice cream.
it's an ice cream. No, no, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, no, not what I was going for. But that's the last one I remember seeing her perform. And, I think she did that concert series a little with Miley Cyrus for a little bit, but that's about it.
There we are. Well, we hope you feel better, Dolly. I hope everything goes well. And let's hope these 2026 concerts will be your best ever.
Well, speaking of very strong female leads, I sent a picture of this to Tim before we started this podcast. I have to bring it up. So they just erected a studio of Tina Turner in Tennessee in her honor. There was a lot of good money, a lot of good people. It was a Lena Best sculptor. It was for Heritage Day, and even Ford Motor Company has a good neighbor plan that put money into this. So there was a lot of good stuff coming out of it. Now, with that being said, even Ford Motor Good Neighbor Plan put in $150,000 towards this statue. And I'm just going to say it. The statue don't look nothing like Tina Turner.
No, it looks like a bad action figure, like a knockoff Tina Turner action figure. It doesn't look good.
If I were Tina Turner, I'd be coming up from the grave right now and being like, who the heck is that? Because it ain't me.
Yeah, that is not the Private Dancer by T. Turner right there.
And he said he wanted to pay tribute to the way she holds her microphone with her finger out. Okay, great. But then he made a comment about the hair. And yes, her hair was larger than life. It was big a lot, especially during her, like, like kind of her heyday. Like she wore her hair very big. But that, yeah, it looks. I don't even know how to describe it. If you are watching this podcast, listening to it, watching it, because you might be watching it on YouTube, please pause this and go Google a photo because it's that bad. And Tim, am I like, it's that bad?
No, it is awful. Do you know what it looks like?
Oh,
now,
God.
this might be something that maybe is outside of something you know, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I had a Play-Doh set called and I think I've just Googled it. I think it was called either the Fuzzy Pumper or the Mop Top Hair Shop, depending on where you are in the world.
We had a very similar one in America, but it was like I know exactly where you're going with this. Like you squished it down and the hair came out.
Yeah, so you put Play-Doh in the bottom of it, you put it in a chair, then you cranked a handle, and then hair would come out of it. But what it had is it had like molds that you could put over the top, so you could give your Play-Doh person a sort of a mold to the hair.
Ours made little monsters in the 90s, but it was the same premise.
Yeah, and I had this set as a kid. And they, when you put the mold on it and then you crank it up and then take the mold off, it would create like this big Play-Doh weird perm
It does look
thing.
like that.
It looks like that.
It's and it's almost like Tina Turner's hair was wild and it was big, but it's so uniform looking on that statue that it just. I'm sorry to the artist. Maybe he had a true vision and maybe he's very talented, but if someone put that statue out of me, Tim, I'd be coming out of the grave to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, it's not. It's not flattering because it'd be different if someone had taken a real artistic take on it and made it abstract. Mm-hmm. And that would have been kind of cool. Or if they've gone to sort of a real life statue of exactly what Tina Turner looks like, that'd be cool too. But this just looks like a bad action figure.
And what's interesting is I was seeing, okay, the mouth looks weird. It does look weird. But the eyes and the nose fit Tina if you look at photos of her in her later days. So I do think in the way the body is, I think that the guy is like talented at being, you know what I mean, making statues. So it's just a weird choice. It's a very strange choice. And of course, everybody's talking about, if you just go look at it now, everybody's going, yikes. Basically, $150,000 alone donated from Ford Motor Company. And, well, this is what we got.
Tax write-off.
I'm not coming to Ford's defense. I'm just saying, Tim, that's a lot of money from just one source. But anyway, all right. So it is my bit of, well, my bit. It's not my bit. It's my episode. So with that being said, I'm going to do something very interesting. And I found a very interesting fact that I think Tim will be interested to hear. So I don't know why I said interested 4 times in that sentence, but let's see if everybody likes it. With that being said, this episode is, I went back and did a little bit of music research. So I Googled from 1985 to 2000, every top hit in the United States and in the UK for September 29th, which is when we're actually recording this. Spoiler alert. So I want to compare the top number one hit in the US and the top number one in the UK. And the reason I'm doing this is because where I did that 2000s episode, which was 70% of me talking to myself. And I'm like, were they vastly that different? They were. But the cooler fact was, Tim, when I was trying to do this research, I pulled the original 90 to 2000. I was like, well, what's 85 to 1989? I'm just going to put that out there in case we need that as well. Well, it's interesting because you can't find out the official single charts in the UK, like officially from before 1989. And the reason that is because in the UK during the 80s, multiple chart compliers existed. You had NME, Melody Maker, Gallup. The OCC only later standardized and retroactively recognized one official chart. So the historical week by week snapshots are a bit more fragmented, and they don't have an official that the OCC recognized or digitalized, I guess, until 1989. Did you know that?
Yeah, so I remember it. So you had Gallup, which was typically your BBC top 10 list. Then you had the network chart, which was independent radio stations. And then you're right, NME, the New Musical Express, they would have a chart. And then the Record Mirror, which was another music periodical, they would have a chart. And it was very common that, like, if you listen to Capital Radio in London, they would be announcing a number one is Whitney Houston, whatever. And then the BBC Top of the Pops would be a different number one.
Well, there you go. I thought that was super interesting. I mean, it makes sense that there was no official. So obviously you could theoretically go figure out all those details, but to just go on the internet and Google it, it's a lot harder. And a lot of the stuff from the OCC dating before 1990 is behind a paywall. Oh. So that also can contribute to it. But anyway, so we're going to start in 1818. We're going to start in 1888, Tim. No, we're going to start in 1989. And of course, in the US, and not one of these songs are the same in either country. Well, multiple countries for one of these, but for 1989 in America, it was Milli Vanilli's "Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You." I don't even know what the UK one is, so I'm hoping Tim does. Black Box, "Right on Time."
Yeah, right on time. You're such a.
Not a clue. Completely lost it. I've never heard that before.
Well, I had a compilation CD called Monster Hits.
Okay.
And I believe that was the first track on the first CD was Black Box's Right on Time. Now, originally, Black Box's Right on Time, it has a female vocalist on there. And I think it was a sample of something else. And then when the single came out, when you heard it on the radio, it contained that sample. But when it got to like being on compilation albums and stuff, they had to have it re-sung because I think there must have been some kind of
probably got in trouble for copyright.
The sample, yeah. And the person who sang it on the compilation albums had a very clearly northern accent, which was probably very deliberate to distance it from the other ones. She went, you're such a. It was really bizarre.
Very intense. Oh, here we go, Tim. So the link to it might have been blue on my screen and I could click right on time. So I did. It says sampling dispute. Deconstruction was concerned about the Clearinghouse Love Sensation sample. I guess that's the song you were talking about, which was owned by Sassoul Records. Vivaldi mistakenly believed Holloway was dead, and that sampling less than 2 seconds of the copyrighted music was okay without his permission legally, because he was, I guess if they're dead, you can do 2 seconds. I don't know. Don't come for me, internet. And this is not in America either, so I'm sure it's different rules over different countries. Dan Hartman, who wrote Love Sensation, asked for a third of the royalties, although Black Box initially balked at the offer. They later learned Hartman could have asked for 100%, and so they said, "Oh, he's now a true gentleman." That's what the quote says. After negotiations worsened with Sassoul, BMG, who owned Deconstruction, had Black Box record. I don't know why I wrote it like that. Had Black Box record a replacement vocal, which is what Tim was saying. The new vocalist Heather Small, who later became the famous singer of M People. Oh. No clue. Okay. Sounds like it like a 90s girl band, if I had to guess.
M People had that song Moving On Up.
Oh, okay. I've heard that song. I wouldn't have recognized them though. According to Vol, BMG were so secretive about her identity, even with Black Box, saying it was the singer doing them a favor. Someone who hadn't released any music yet, but was a big priority for BMG's future. BMG refused to confirm Small was provided the vocal after In Peace became successful, and she sadly never got any of the credit. That's weird. Very strange story. There you go, Tim. I clicked the blue link and you were correct on most of it.
There we are. So, I mean, all this was going down on September the 29th, 1989. I mean, who knew? Is it all that controversy?
So her accent, it says Heather Smalls was born in London to parents who are originally from Barbados.
Okay.
There you go. I don't know. All right, moving along. So the next one we're going to move on to is obviously 1990. I do know this song. I think I know both these songs, but I would say both of these kind of look like one-hit wonders to me. Nielsen, Can't Live Without Your Love, which you can hear on a radio station anywhere, which was in the USA, and Maria McKee, Show Me Heaven.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that song. I mean, this is an era of music that the cusp of me giving up on popular music. This was still a time when maybe I listened to the radio, maybe when I was watching Top of the Pops, and these are songs that I recognize and know, sort of.
Is that the song that's like Leave Me Breathless every other word?
I think so.
I think that's it. I would definitely say this is considered a one-hit wonder here, and probably based off of what Tim's saying in the UK as well.
I think so as well, yes.
Sorry, Miss Maria McKee, if you had other major hits. We don't know them. All right, we'll move along because I do know Tim will know. He'll probably know the band from the USA. I don't know if he'll know the song. He'll definitely know the one from the UK because everybody does. It is Color Me Bad, which we've talked about on this podcast. This is the I Adore Mi Amor, that Spanish song they did for like 5 minutes in the US. And then for the UK, there's no one in the world who doesn't know this song. It's Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It For You.
Yeah, this song was impossible to avoid in the UK. Now, I don't know how long it was number one in the United States or whether it was number one prior to this, but it still holds the record, I believe, for the longest number one in the charts of all time in the UK. It was impossible to escape it. Wherever you went, all you heard was that song, and it was, of course, the tie-in for the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a film I have never seen, a film I will never ever see because I never watch films. But the interesting thing about this film is that some of the video had bits from the film in it, and a lot of that parts of that film was shot in Sherwood Forest. And Hannah and I went to Sherwood Forest. And there's actually like statues of Kevin Costner in Sherwood Forest, which is weird.
That's very strange. I would have said that. So for USA, it says it was a top 10 Billboard 100 hit for 17 consecutive weeks at number one. So it was probably just popular here, just like you said, maybe a different time of year. And it did win a Grammy. I know that. But this song is like, every person who's ever lived through the 90s and has went to at least one wedding in their life could never hear this song again.
Yeah, it was everywhere. It said whether it was an event, whether it was a wedding, whether it was the radio, whether it was the TV, whether it was Top of the Pops.
Commercial using it for something.
Oh, goodness me. I'm sure Bryan Adams could have probably retired from making music purely off of this one. I mean, I assume he wrote this.
I would assume so, but I don't know. Let's Google it, everybody.
Give it a quick Google, because if he did, I'm sure he bought a couple of Ferraris with this.
Oh yeah,
and some big house with a swimming pool.
Let's see. Yes. Oh wait, no. He co-wrote it. He shares it with. You're never gonna guess what I'm about to say.
Who is it?
Mr. Mutt Lange.
Ah.
And film composer Michael Carmen. So it says, yes, he co-wrote it, but he didn't write it alone. It was producer Robert Mutt Lange and Michael Carmen.
Well, Michael Kamen. So Michael Kamen is
I don't know
a
who
famous.
that is, so I'll take your word for it.
He's a famous orchestrator.
Oh, that makes sense.
He famously is the one who did the orchestration for the Metallica S&M concerts, where you had the orchestra behind Metallica. That's Michael Kamen's work.
So it did give me some interesting. So Kamen, because I'm saying Carmen, but it's Kamen, composed the initial theme for the film. Adams and Lang were brought in to write the lyrics and vocal track, develop the full song from the melody that Kamen had already put together. So that makes sense. And then it says Adams and Lang wrote their part in about 45 minutes, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, both of those people are incredibly experienced music industry people. I mean, Brian Adams has written 52 songs that are all great. You've got Mutt Lange, who is a an absolute genius. So you bring these two parties together with something that a composer, a very talented, experienced composer, has brought a melody line and an idea together, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Everything I do it for you. What do you think? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's make a demo.
It's just so funny though, because like as soon as I started reading, I was like, "You're never going to believe what I'm about to say," and Tim's just staring at me, and I know the Bills. As soon as I read Mutt Lange, I was like, "Of course, could have predicted that." It's the early '90s; it was his heyday. What's interesting though is when the song was first released, it was rejected by Hollywood executives for the movie because they wanted a more medieval sound.
Oh.
Apparently, though, it became #1 hit across the world. All right. Well, we just learned everything. I didn't know that Mutt Lange was behind that song till now. That makes so much sense.
Well, thinking about it, I think Mutt Lange produced an album or a number of albums for Brian Adams. So maybe the connection was already there and they were working on something else. I don't know. But because there's another song, All for Love and Love for All or something about the same era.
Same dramatic love song Brian Adams sings. Yes, there's another one. So yeah, probably around the same album too. All right. So for 1992, this is a song we'll both know. I do not know the UK song, and I know Tim's probably going to know it and laugh at me. I'm not going to say this right. It's going to be written in history books. All right. For the USA, it's Boyz II Men, End of the Road. And you know that song.
Do you know, I actually do know that song. I don't know a lot of Boyz II Men, but yes, I'm very familiar with that song.
We've talked about it on the podcast. That's probably their biggest hit, right? Like, I would say. The Shaman, Ebenezer Good.
Okay, so the Shaman.
Code.
The Shaman and it's Ebenezer Good. So there was an era of music.
I didn't take myself seriously because I knew that was going to come out that way. I'm sorry. Okay, continue, Ted. I have to breathe.
There was an era of music prior to this called acid house music, and it was very much dance and rave culture music. And there was a song called Acid, they call it Acid, and it got banned by the BBC because it sort of glamorized drug culture, rave drug culture. Mm-hmm. But of course, that kind of culture always existed, though it was very much underground. And it was a time when the people were having this, what they called warehouse parties, where people would effectively break into an industrial unit and then have some kind of massive rave going on in there. Now, the Shaman's Ebenezer Good. The reason this song exists is because he says in the chorus, he said, "Ease a good, Ebenezer good." But what they're actually saying is ease, as in ecstasy, the drug. So it's like, ease are good, Ebenezer good. And it was like a cheeky way of referencing this sort of rave culture at the time.
I was like, as soon as I saw the name, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me right now. I was like, I really hope Tim knows what this means and I'm not just staring at him as he's looking at my bad pronunciation.
Yeah, and I think this was probably banned by the BBC too, because
probably
it was seen as, it was going to subvert the youth of the UK or something. I don't know.
I don't know that they need subverting by songs. I think they've already got it. All right. So for 1993, I do know the US song and I know the UK song. I will say the UK song surprised me. So for America, it's Mariah Carey, Dream Lover, which Mariah Carey was famously one of the highest, Tim had the most #1 hits in the UK and the US for American Woman or something like that. So it's not surprising she was here. For the UK, it's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Boom, Shake the Room. And that threw me off guard because I know the song, but I did not know it was that popular in the UK.
Yeah, I think you'll find that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was incredibly popular in the UK. Huh. It was on BBC Two, I seem to remember. It was nothing that I was interested in, but certainly people in and around me used to really enjoy it, and it was a reasonably big show. And
Interesting.
this is before Will Smith was like the big Hollywood entity that
Yeah.
he is now, when he was just maybe a more of a small time actor on that TV show. So it was probably a music that was popular off the back of that. But yes, I remember when this came out and I remember it being very popular. And, I was playing gigs around that time too. And I remember you going to nightclubs and stuff and DJs were playing music. And yes, you would often hear this.
I mean, for those who don't know it, it's really not rocket science. It's literally just going boom, shake, shake, shake the room over and over again.
Boom,
That's pretty
shake.
much 40% of the song. But it just surprised me because I mean, I guess I had never really thought about the Fresh Prince being popular in the UK, but I don't know why I wouldn't have thought that. I have no idea. The last time I watched The Fresh Prince was the time I had kidney surgery and they put me back in the room. And you have the little TV that doesn't really do much and you get like 3 channels in your room. And the only thing that would come in was The Fresh Prince. So I was waiting for them to wheel me back to get like my anesthesia so I could go into surgery. And yeah, it was The Fresh Prince.
There we are. Well, the last time I was in a hospital, which luckily was not for anything super important, for a preventative measure. They had a little TV in the room, a 14-inch TV with the remote control and the 3 channels that doesn't really do anything. I switched it on and there was rubbish. So I pulled out my phone and I watched wrestling on Peacock.
Well, they had me on, in my defense, Tim, they had given me like a cocktail of drugs before they put me under. So I was kind of out of it. I didn't think logically to even look at my phone. I was just kind of watching Will Smith, hoping that I came back alive on the other end. Wasn't major surgery, but still.
Well, Joy, you should have been listening to hospital radio.
I should have. We have to have a conversation about this. I still laugh that I thought when I first heard it, I truly thought you guys meant like when you're at the grocery store and there's just music playing in the background. And I'm like, that would just make me angry. You're about to wheel me into surgery. And the last thing I hear is Jesus take the wheel or something. Like, that would just really upset me. I don't know why that's logically what I thought, but it really was. It would be horrible, Tim. Don't give anybody any ideas. We don't need them to charge us $200 for the music. All right, moving along. So for 1994, we're back to Boyz II Men again in the U.S. The only other song that Tim would know from them, I'll Make Love to You, the other hit they had for 5 minutes.
I absolutely 100% know that.
I think I know this song, but not very well. For the UK, it's Wingfield Saturday Night.
Hey, Whigfield, Saturday night.
Okay, so it's the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
Pretty baby. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I thought I was like, is it the one I'm thinking? I wouldn't know who sang that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've definitely heard that song 1,000. Actually, I really like that song. I didn't know who did they have other songs?
I think Whigfield is Swedish, I think.
That would check out. It comes off as let's see here, Whigfield. It's a blonde woman. Oh, she's Italian.
Oh, Italian.
Danish.
Well, there you go.
Oh, no. Whigfield is an Italian dance act fronted by a Danish singer. So apparently there's Italians and somebody. So that's interesting. So she's Danish. She was a singer, former model, songwriter, producer. Her name is Sanny Carlson.
There you go. Well, I apologize to any Swedes listening that I mixed up a Danish person,
Don't
but
tell them.
it's still Scandinavia.
Denmark, it's fine. We just won't tell them. I'm pretty sure there's one episode where I said something about someone being from New Zealand. That's from Australia. That they never let me live down.
You don't want to do that.
But I kind of remember her. I hate to say this, but the lead singer of this song and that song Tim's talking about, I could see the music video in my head. Pretty baby, like that. Da, 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 da. It's very famous. I mean, obviously people know it, but I can see it in my head, and she has that classic house pop look, blonde person from Eastern Europe. I'm just gonna say it. There was a mold there at that time, Tim. There was. I don't know why. I mean, but it makes good music though, and I could see this song being everywhere for like 5 minutes. So I'm not surprised it was a #1 hit.
Yeah, again, I was out playing gigs during that time in clubs and pubs, and I probably was listening to this quite a lot as a result.
It would be a fun one. All right, I do know both these ones, and I actually prefer. Actually, I don't know which one I prefer. So in the U.S. again, we literally went Boyz II Men, Mariah Carey. Boyz II Men, guess what this one's going to be? Mariah Carey. Fantasy. Her and Boyz II Men did songs together too, which ironically, but they're known as like some of the highest grossing top Billboard hits of all time, so it's not surprising. And then for the UK, it's Simply Red, Fairground.
Yeah, I remember this. This was sort of a dance hit for Simply Red. A lot of their stuff was more sort of traditional pop, but Fairground is very much a sort of a dancey type vibe about it. Mick Hucknall, a different thing for Mick Hucknall to get involved with.
I know a few songs from Simply Red. Like I've definitely heard them before because he kind of has more of like a soul sound, I guess. I don't know if that's a better way of saying it, but definitely was pop for this song. I don't know that they really made it in the US, if I'm being completely honest with you, but I have heard this song in passing.
I mean, holding back the years, Money's Too Tight to Mention. I mean, those are absolute classics. I mean, I don't know what Simply Red, Mick Hucknall and co are doing these days. I do know that Mick Hucknall appears on the Alan Partridge Knowing Me, Knowing You'll Christmas special, singing Ding Dong Merrily on High, backed by Glenn Ponder on a Korg M1 organ. Now, we get into that time of year when it's ready to watch Knowing Me, Knowing You'll. And the one of the best part, there was many great parts of the episode. Oh, pardon. Anyhow, one of the great parts of the episode is when Mick Hucknall is on there singing Ding Dong Merrily on High.
There we go. And his hair's red, if anybody was wondering. I can't confirm, but I think that's why the band is called Simply Red.
I have on good authority that is why they were called Simply Red.
If anybody was wondering, all right, I didn't know that until I was looking him up for this episode. I was like, oh, his hair's red. Because I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, do I know this song? I was like, oh, yes, I've heard this. It's just interesting because I can't identify. I know some of these songs, Tim, but I wouldn't be able to identify them in the way I can identify their American counterparts. So
there we are. One thing I went to say though, the song by Mariah Carey, Fantasy, yes. I believe that's the one that has the Tom Tom Club sample in it.
It is, and it's also, I think it was used for a movie. I'm pretty sure this is the one that has the Tom Tom Club. Hold on, let's see. Now that I said that, I'm like, did I lie to myself?
I think Fantasy is the one with the Tom Tom Club.
Yeah, it is. Genius of Love, it is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I love that song. Also, it's also used, there's a remix version with a rapper whose name I can't say on this podcast because it's not good words, old, dirty, whatever you want to take for it. So there's two versions of this song. I've heard both, but it also, this is one of the songs where she notoriously sings through 3 octaves. Mm-hmm. And she used to be able to do it live. If you've heard her now, I don't think she, we're not going to talk about that. We're not here to beat up Mariah Carey, but there's like, hold on. It's an E3 to an E6 in this song, which is very low for a lot of people that can sing that high. So she has to be able to do both, an E3 to be able to go up to an E6. It's pretty unheard of. Of course, there's conversations. People make up all kinds of things about her having 8 octaves. She doesn't. From what I've read, it's more like 4 to 6 octaves on a good day, but
there we are.
You know how she can still sing much.
She can sing much better than me. I can warble out Love Shack once in a while, and there you go.
What was it last week when we were recording? And Tim goes, "Well, you did a much better version of that than I did." What song were we talking about? Do you remember?
I can't remember, Joe. We have these conversations during the record, before the record,
and then we don't remember
after
at
the
all.
record, and it's we go off on many tangents. I can't remember.
I'm gonna be excited to go back and listen to that episode though, because I remember Tim just looked at me and went, "Well, you just did a much better version of that than I did," because I was trying to identify the song and I sang it back to him. He was like, "Yeah, you got it." All right, so for 1996, we have a song that everybody knows, unless you live under a rock or you weren't alive in the 90s. And even then, I think if you're alive now, US. For the UK, it's also a song I know very well, probably one of my favorite songs, Deep Blue Something, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. Now, this is a song which I've played with Ian Husbands many, many times.
Fair enough.
It has the sum total of about 4 chords in it.
Mm-hmm.
And one part of it, the chords go one way, and the other part of it, the chords are the same but go the other way. And again, this was everywhere. And it was probably because I was playing it a lot at jam sessions and gigs with Ian and stuff like that.
That's definitely why it was number 1, Tim. What? Obviously, they heard you play it and they're like, we're going to make that one the number one
I think
hit.
that's exactly what it was.
I mean, this song had to be a number one hit in the US too, because I mean, there's not one person that, even if you say Breakfast at Tiffany's, I almost think at this point, people think of the song before they think of the movie, even though the song is about the movie.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that have no knowledge of the film and only know this song. The interesting thing is Tiffany's in New York now has a breakfast menu. So they never used to have any kind of restaurant type of fare at Tiffany's because it was just a high-end jeweler. But because of this song and because of the film, they now have a restaurant in there. And yes, it is possible to have breakfast at Tiffany's.
There you go. All right. Well, and I mean, the Macarena. Did you ever do the Macarena in public, Tim?
I mean, there have been some times, Joe. Let me tell you, in the
That you
distant,
remember.
deep distant past, I've imbibed alcoholic beverages. I've done some very ridiculous things, and luckily, there is zero record of any of that. And I'm sure the Macarena probably featured in some of that in my past.
Here's one out there that I'm just very thankful, even though I am a little bit younger than you, Tim, I'm a little bit thankful that I was just for the cusp of everything being recorded, where I was pushed up on stage and at a bar, and I think about it fondly. And I'm just so happy it's not out there for the internet. Never would I don't ever want to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel so lucky. And I tell you what, I will say one other thing about the Macarena.
Oh, yeah.
Again, as we get into that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, please check out
I knew it was
the
coming.
Christmas version of the Macarena Joy Mix, where it's the Macarena and then it has Christmas carols in it. I would say once again, stop this podcast. I wouldn't normally tell you to do this. Hit pause on your cassette player and go
Obviously.
to your streaming service, YouTube of choice, and find the Joy Mix of the Macarena. It is quite possibly the most terrible Christmas song I've ever heard, but it's fabulous.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. I definitely didn't know the Joy Mix existed. Of course, I had to pause when we were recording last year to maybe watch it on air. He was so very excited for this. I didn't know I wrote that. It's crazy. No one called me when they made the Joy Mix. Didn't know. But
I mean, the only reason I know it exists, there was a period of time when I used to go to Sweden reasonably frequently, and they had MTV, but they also had another channel which was like MTV, but it was for the Swedish market. So you would get videos and stuff that you'd have heard of, but sometimes you'd have like Swedish and Scandinavian artists on there as well. But I was there at one Christmas, and this was on like rotation, the Joy Mix of Macarena, and I'm like, what is this? This is terrible. But like the more you watch it, it's like actually this is now Christmas for me.
you're like, it's one of those things that grew on you. The more you watch it, you're like, I kind of love it. I mean, I would take it over definitely over some other Christmas songs. I'm just not a Christmas music person. I never will be.
I mean, there's some Christmas songs I really like, and as we know, Waitress's Christmas Wrapping is the best Christmas song of all time, and it will never ever be beaten. But I don't know, I like this one, and there's some other quirky Christmas songs I like too.
I like them for like 5 minutes. The problem is I don't like them more than I like regular music. You know what I mean, Tim? Like, I will listen to them for like 5 minutes and then I want to go back to just listening to regular music. I don't have that instinct to keep listening to Christmas music throughout the season. I just don't.
Well, this is what I've been doing for the last few years. And this was even starting to do this prior to the big Spotify experiment of 2022 or whenever it was. So in the month of December, I listened to a Christmas album every day until Boxing Day. I normally shut it off on Boxing Day because that's too much. And I try and listen to a Christmas album I've never heard before. Mm-hmm. And you get some interesting stuff. Like you do, like I never knew this person in certain name of rock act did a Christmas album.
That's true. The other thing is like, it's always interesting when they try to like put their own spin on it too, instead of just doing sometimes just the Christmas standards. Some of them are good. Some of them are just like the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. And so that's also one that I do like listening to. And occasionally I find a few good Christmas songs in and out there that I do like, but I just have a short attention span for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something typically you're going to listen to all year, apart from Waitress's Christmas wrapping, which can be enjoyed at any time of the year. But it's very much a seasonal thing when the Christmas tree's up and you've got tinsel and the turkey is cooking. You might want to put on Slade's Merry Christmas, Everybody, or Wizards, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. But, by the time you get to December 27th, 28th, I've probably had enough of that.
I was waiting for you to mention a Wham song just to make people mad, but it didn't happen.
Well, last year, I didn't put on Wham's Last Christmas. I didn't deliberately play it. I actually avoided it the whole Christmas season. And that's not because I hate it. And there's a lot of people that listen to it because they love it, and that's fine. It is actually a really good Christmas song.
It's one of my favorite Christmas songs, to be honest.
And I didn't deliberately not play it, but I didn't seek it out either. And I just didn't hear it the whole Christmas period. I mean, I don't listen to the radio. We don't have broadcast TV, and everything has an ad blocker on it. So I can always curate almost exactly what I'm going to listen to and watch. And even just like going to places, I didn't hear it.
What was the one? Oh, Step Into Christmas. I could go my entire life without hearing Elton John Step Into Christmas again. And it's not because it's a bad song. It's because I actually like that song. But when we went on our trip to New York 2 or 3 years back, and it was just like one of those 24-hour trips, we were waiting for the bus to come get us. We were sitting and you were tired. You've been walking all over New York all day. You're like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. Bus was supposed to be there at 10. We're just going to sit in front. And we were sitting right in front of Saks on Fifth Avenue. And they have a big light show every year on the side of Saks on Fifth Avenue for Christmas. Well, what people don't know is that light show is the same thing for 5, 10 bajillion times over and over again. And the song is only about 30 seconds long, and it just repeats the same thing over and over. And it was Step Into Christmas by Elton John. And by the 17th time, I was like, okay, I've got to go find something to do. I can't sit here anymore and listen to this. And I went and walked around a store or something. Even though I was tired and ready to be done with it, I was like, okay, I love you, Elton John, but not today. And so I remember just sitting there. The first time it was like, everybody's like, because you have this people, like massive amount of people coming around to see it. Like they're just going down they're going down Fifth Avenue in New York City, and they're like, whoa, look at the light show. And everybody's all excited. Then that group goes, and then the next group goes, and it does the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, and it's just funny because it was really cool the first 10 times. It was. But then I think about, like, if you had to be there every day, you'd probably be ready to be over it, like to jump off of something.
Absolutely. But you also, that was being planned in like April or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm sure Elton John insert some crazy astronomical number to put himself on the side of Saks at Fifth Avenue. And for those who don't know what Saks is, it's a retail store in a way, but it does like designer brands. Yeah. So you're looking at like Gucci and I don't know. I don't buy designer brands. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I can tell you what they are. Prada or something.
Yeah, and I buy the big designer brands. I buy Levi. I buy Skechers. I buy Old Navy. All the big high-end brands.
Exactly. That's about where mine go. But when you're looking at it, and I'm sure Tim's been to it, there's like one big wall, and then there's like the storefronts, and then there's like all you can kind of see in the upper sides of Saks where like artists and designers and stuff, their rooms are and stuff. So it is a really cool building if you're into especially if you're into fashion. But that's kind of how they revamp, and I'm sure they do different shows throughout the year for different reasons.
Sure. I mean, all of those big department stores in New York City have that sort of stuff going on.
Yes, yes. So with that being said, 1997, we're back to Mariah Carey in the U.S. She had a really popular time in the 90s. This is Honey, which is one that I was thinking of before when you said fantasy. Honey's the one that's in a movie. I don't remember exactly. It was some type of she in the video, she's being chased by there's a whole opening sequence. So it's like I guess James Bondy kind of thing. I can't remember what the name of the movie is. But in the video, Mariah Carey jumps off a balcony, skydives into water. She swims all the way to a jet ski, just on the jet ski. Then she takes off, and there's people following her with jet skis, and she has to jump on a boat.
As we all know, as everybody knows as a fact, the most spectacular opening to any film, and indeed any James Bond film, is Moonraker.
Yes,
where they're
this is
jumping
true.
out the aeroplane and they're fighting for the parachute, and then Jaws pulls the thing and his parachute doesn't come out, and then he lands on the big top. I mean, Mariah's was probably great, but it's no Moonraker.
Just random, to be honest. I wonder what movie that was for. Hang on, I want to look it up because I can't remember. Mariah Carey. Yes, you guys hear my clicking. It's okay. I'm looking this up. Movie. What movie was that? Oh, song is directed by Parnham Features and Glamorous. Is it Jane Pod and Screamed? Spy Thief. Oh, 2003 film Honey starring Jessica Alba, but it's a separate. Oh, okay. So the whole movie thing was just for the video. I thought there was an actual video movie that went with it, but apparently not. It's just James Bond inspired spy scenario for the music video. And there's like, well, if you watch it, it takes like 5 minutes before you actually get into the song. It's very long, very drawn out, but it is kind of iconic because I remembered it and I have not watched it since probably 1997. So I'll give it to you, Mariah. I do listen to that song occasionally, but I haven't sought out the movie video. Now, this is one that it will not surprise anyone. This song was everywhere in the UK. I think it still holds some title for highest grossing, longest grossing, something grossing. It is Elton John's Candle in the Wind, the 1997 version.
Yes,
But
this
then,
is the version that was written for Diana, Princess of Wales.
that's what I was going to ask. I was like, this is the Diana version, right?
Yeah, after we lost Diana, Princess of Wales, the lot of the country was in mourning about that. Elton wanted to do something, and he re-recorded this song. I think he actually played it at her funeral, in fact. And it went back in the charts, and it was in the charts for ages, ages and ages. And I think the money certainly went to charity. I think it was possibly an AIDS charity. I don't know,
Probably.
but it was a fundraising exercise from Elton, because Elton, he's a philanthropist when it comes to things like that.
Absolutely. And so it was interesting though when I watched Elton live 2 or 3 years back, he did, the original. So he did the version, well, Norma Jean, but
Yeah.
and they had pictures of her behind it, and then he segued into the Diana version. I thought it would have been 1997, but I'm like, don't come for me, internet. I'm pretty sure because the original was from like 1991 or something of that nature. But this is a song that, I mean, from what I've heard, it was like if you were in the UK, you couldn't getting away from it for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, it was absolutely everywhere.
But sounds like it went for a good cause, so I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, but I mean,
I hate that he had to write it, but
true. But I think objectively, it's terrible I mean,
Tim, you're gonna get one of us is gonna get taken out. You can't say that. There are rules about
no, the
what you say about
original.
Princess Diana.
Yeah, the original song. I'll stand by this. The original song is great. And this remake version of it with different lyrics slotted in. He was honoring his friend, Diana, Princess of Wales. He was capturing the moment that was in the UK at that time. A lot of people were incredibly distraught that the people's princess was no longer with us, and it was a tragic situation. But I think if you look at this song in isolation and compare it to the original, it's terrible.
I mean, I do prefer the Marilyn Monroe version. I like the way he talks about Norma Jean. He talks about her being, just an average person that nobody really knew. And there's probably a lot of truth to that. It's not like I ever met Marilyn Monroe or anything, but I imagine that's true of anybody who meets such a big, spotlight so quickly. But it was just funny because it was like, oh no, the internet's going to cover me about Princess Diana. I gotta summarize this one real quick.
No, I would never knowingly ever listen to that version of that song. I would listen to the original version 100%. But I just think it's just like slotting in lyrics to fit for something that already existed. I would have preferred if Elton and Bernie Taupin had written a different song as a tribute. And it just, I don't know. It did nothing for me at the time. And I have no reason to ever listen to that ever again.
And it might have been cooler if they had just come up with a unique song that wasn't already done.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing where at the last minute someone said, Elton, we need to do something for your friend. What have you got? And he's like, well, I don't know, Bernie's not around at the moment. How about
So
that Candle in the Wind song? Do you think you can rework that? Yeah, give me 25 minutes. Let me see what I can come up with.
you might be right. Sorry, Bertie. It's sorry, Elton. Elton, if you want to come to the podcast, we will let you on for sure. We still love you. We do. Also, Tim and me have a very funny history with Princess Diana that I can't say on this podcast. We've already said too much, but it does make me laugh. All right. So with that being said, oh God, somebody's gonna think it's just funny because one time I was talking to Tim and we were talking about, some suspicious things that happened around Princess Diana. And Tim just said it's so matter of fact to me what he thought happened that I was like, wait, does the UK know something we don't?
Well, Joy, this isn't a conspiracy theory podcast, so
anyway, I wanted to clarify though because I made it sound worse than it was. All right. So with that being said, on to the next one. So in 1998, we had in the U.S. one of my husband's favorite songs that I would rather never hear again if my life depended on it. That is Aerosmith's "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing," aka the song written for the Armageddon movie. Mm-hmm. And then I much prefer what was playing in the UK, and this is a band I do like. It's Bewitched Roller Coaster.
Yeah, Bewitched was another one of those music acts where it's five attractive people standing in a row. Now, we've had lots of those. Especially in the UK, we had Boyzone. In the United States, we had NSYNC and all this stuff, New Kids on the Block. I mean, there's so many of these attractive people standing in a row. Steps. S Club 7, we did a whole episode about them.
I loved S Club 7.
But yeah, Bewitched was another one of those things. I don't think they had quite the appeal in the US that they had in the UK. And certainly you don't hear them spoken about as revered as S Club 7 and Steps.
So in the US, they're basically viewed as a one-hit wonder. C'est La Vie is the one song everybody in the US knows. Roller Coaster was kind of popular. Mickey was okay. That was one of their later songs. And I think they had a song about Weatherman. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I definitely had the album. And the album cover for C'est La Vie, which I don't remember what the name of the album was, but it was very distinct. It had like a flower on it. It had like a really cool like album cover, and it was printed on the CD. So when you put it in your CD player, it looked really cool. But I mean, C'est La Vie it was a huge hit. And like every 90s girl who was into pop music absolutely would be able to quote every part of that song to you. And one of the weirder parts about that song now that I find hilarious looking back that no one talks about is at the beginning of it, she goes, "Some people say I look like me dad." And then they start laughing. Like that's the funniest thing you've ever heard. Why was it funny?
Because that's a sort of thing people say like that.
Is it funny though? like looking back now, I remember like obviously I know the song, like I love the song. It's a very fun song. And then there's some hints that the lyrics are a little bit more risque than people realize because it sounds so happy and poppy and yeah. So that's another one. But I don't know. But looking back, I always laugh because at the beginning, she just says, "Some people say I look like me dad." And then the other girl just busts up laughing for like 10 minutes straight. I guess maybe because they were talking about innuendos through the whole song. I'm not sure. But it's really not that funny. It never was that funny.
Yeah, are you familiar with a similar attractive people standing in a line act called Atomic Kitten?
Oh, yes. Yes. That one was popular for 5 minutes. We also had, who was the one who did a ton? I know Steps did a version, but there was 18 that came out for a little while. I think they did a bunch of versions of BG songs. They were never, I hate to say this, none of them like sparred in America. They all just kind of popped up from either like the UK or Australia. Dream was another one. He loves me. He loves you no matter. That one was everywhere.
Yeah, I suppose they sort of put these acts together and hope they'll catch. And some of them do catch and some of them don't.
They were all riding on the backs of the Spice Girls.
That's what it is.
That's all it was. They were all trying to find that Spice Girls fame and they never quite got there. Sorry, it's true. Anyway, so yeah, C'est La Vie was pretty popular. Roller Coaster was their other hit that came out, was on the same album. So generally most Americans would know it, but we wouldn't. I don't think it was ever technically a single or a hit here. And it taught every American at least one piece of French they didn't know. So that's good. All right. Let's see here. So 1999 is a band that Tim's sort of familiar with, not familiar with, has had Chase some interesting words to say about them on this podcast from the US. That is TLC's Unpretty. For the UK, it is Eiffel 65 Blue, which is not a surprise to anyone either. I mean, that song was everywhere for 5 minutes in America as well. I don't know if it was as popular, but it was definitely super popular here.
Not, I mean, I think I've heard of it, but it didn't resonate, I don't think.
Blue by Blue Dabba Dee Dabba. Tim, are you under a rock?
I think maybe I didn't know what it's called.
I think you might live under a rock, sir.
So Eiffel 65 Blue.
Yeah. I feel as though you've had to have heard of this song.
That's let me hear. Wait for my ad blocker to do its thing.
The pressure's on everybody. I just cannot imagine anyone who's ever heard that song.
Yeah. I didn't know it. I didn't know it was called that. And again, that's something you would hear in pubs and clubs and stuff around that time. I didn't know it was called that.
You would have never sought it out. I'm like, really? How?
Yeah, when you said it, I thought, well, I think I know that.
I mean, it's one of those songs that somehow is everywhere all at once. You know what I mean? Like you could hear it in 1,000 different ways. But anyway, TLC, we've talked about a little bit on the podcast. Unpretty was pretty popular. It was everywhere. Tim had some mixed feelings about TLC when we spoke about them before.
Well, it's just that Waterfall song is fine. And I remember seeing their outfits in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they were fine. I don't know. Not the music for me, I don't think.
Take it or leave it. All right. So we're going to end with 2000. I actually have 4 more if you want. Do you want me to do any more, Tim, or you think this is enough?
I think we should do up to 2001.
2001. So we'll talk about 2000 and then we will talk about 2001. And ironically, 2000 in the US, it was Madonna. Music makes the people come together. Do you ever hear that Madonna song, Tim?
I do. I'm very familiar with that. That was around the time Madonna sort of almost reinvented herself with more of a hard-edged dance sound. I wish Madonna would go back to making music like she did in the 80s and the sort of mid to early 90s, but a lot of her current material is more in the vein of the song music.
I like this song. I don't like it better than her other music, but I do like it. But I definitely remember this album very distinctly. Talked about the little things on the internet that were the first gifts that I remember her singing in the back of cars and stuff. So I won't rehash it out, but this is pretty popular. Now for the UK, Mariah finally made it over to the UK. This is Mariah Carey and Westlife Against All Odds, which I'm assuming is a Phil Collins remake.
I believe so. Westlife being another one of those 5 attractive people standing in a line type musical acts.
I mean, I don't know who they are. Let me see if I do. Let's see if I know any Westlife songs.
They were unkindly called Pond Life by people that I was in and around at that time.
I lay my love on you, my love. You raise me up. I want to. Yeah, they're not ringing any bells for me. This one's not really hitting it. Sorry, guys, if you heard my dog just shake. It's his collar. But yeah, that one's not doing it for me, Tim. I don't know who Westlife is.
Yeah, again, just think attractive people standing in a line probably didn't write their songs.
Okay, perfect. All right. So for 2001, this is a song I think Tim would at least know. He might not be super familiar with it. In the US, it's Alicia Keys' Falling. And then,
I'm familiar. That song's in the key of A minor.
Yes. And then for UK, it's Will Young and Gareth Gates, The Long and Winding Road / Suspicious Minds, which once again, I'm hoping that this is an Elvis cover.
Yeah, I think it's a Beatles stroke Elvis cover. And I think both
weird.
of those people were Pop Idol winners or something. Gareth Gates and Will Young, I think.
I would not know, Tim. I've never heard those words before. All right. Well, I'm going to read out the last one and then we can call it. So I know Tim said 2002. Oh, yeah, 2002. He said 2001. I'm going to give you one more. We don't have to get into it, though. The U.S., it is Nelly featuring Kelly Rowland, Dilemma, which I love that song. Oh, wait. No, I was wrong. For 2001, Tim, it's Kylie Minogue's Can't Get You Out of My Head. I skipped a lot.
Ah, no,
Which
that's
we
a
do love
classic.
Kylie. Yes. And then for the US for 2002, it's the Will and Gareth Gates, the long and winding hashtag suspicious minds.
There we are.
Gotta give Kylie her, I mean, Can't Get You Out of My Head is iconic.
It is, and it's a D minor and an A minor all the way through, apart from one small bit in the middle. But it's all
Doesn't mean
production.
it's still a bop, Tim. It's still a bop, as the kids say, or whatever. All right. And with that, what would you like to leave the people?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To remind me of another day to love.